Originating in France and popularized in Spain, Perdigon nymphs are a must for anyone who drifts nymphs in rivers and streams. Simple to tie and designed to plummet like a pellet, Perdigon nymphs are now becoming more widespread in North America through fly fishers such as Devin Olsen. Here are the materials you will need to tie your own selection of Perdigon nymphs. So let's tie the buzzer wrap Pliva Perdigon, inspired by my friend Devin Olsen and his Pliva Perdigon fly. If you have a chance, go visit his YouTube channel and his blog. Lots of great stuff on European nymphing, including his new video he just put out with fellow United States fly fishing teammate Lance Egan. Into the jaws of the vise, I've placed a Daiichi 1550 number 14 nymph hook. You can also tie this fly on a jig hook. So onto the hook, I slid a 3/32 or 2.5 millimeter slotted tungsten bead, in this case copper. I'm kind of going with a pheasant tail look here. And I slid the bead with the narrow end towards the hook eye and the slot facing the rear. It's a little tricky to get on in the small sizes, just simply seeing that small hole. I'm going to position this bead, it's subtle, but so the majority of the bead is above the horizontal line on the hook, and this will help roll the pattern over on its back slightly so it drifts sort of hook bend down and resists snagging. So once the bead's on, I'm going to attach my tying thread, in this case 8/0 rusty brown, and it's just to complement the coloration of the overall look of the nymph you're going for. We're going to have a brownish color, so obviously I'm using a brownish colored thread material, and the material we're going to use for the body on this is translucent, so that does factor in too. So we're just going to come back up and get that bead positioned where we want, and again we're trying to see if we can get the majority of that bead above the heaviest part, above the horizontal line of the hook, and with the slotted end down, the slot facing down, you're going to have the majority of the mass of the tungsten above there, and that's going to again help roll that hook point, hook up, so it rides and tumbles just above the bottom in that fashion and doesn't snag up as much. And now we've got that in place, we're just going to wind our tying thread down the shank. And this fly has, although it's a French origins, believe it or not, it was popularized by the Spanish, and if you're going to tie a Spanish nymph, you got to have Coq de Leon fibers for the tail. So we're just going to strip some right off the side of the stem. Going to come in and even up, not too many, it's subtle, I've got about half a dozen or so there. I'm just going to remove those from the stem, and we're going to tie in a tail that's about no more than about shank length long. So we're just going to get that in place. One wrap, two wraps on there. They splay out beautifully. This Coq de Leon's great tailing material for not only nymphs like this, but dry flies. That modeling looks like very natural. So we're going to secure that all the way up the shank to keep our body taper in control. Come in and trim off the excess. Wind our thread back up, keep building that taper up and get that bead into position. We're trying to make sure that that slotted portion of the bead is on the underside of the hook, so the majority of the tungsten bead mass is above, again helping to roll this fly over. It's important. Now we're going to bring up our ribbing material. Lots of rib choices. You could use vibrant colored thread. In this case we're just going to go with some UTC extra small copper wire. Secure that in right behind the bead and secure down to the base of the tail. Come back up. Again, continue to adjust our body taper with our tying thread. And now we're going to tie in our body material. Now, you could tie this in. There's lots of choices. You can use Flashaboos. You could use some of the Vivas body quill. Again, it's usually governed by what you're comfortable working with and the overall color of the fly you're trying to get. We're going to use some buzzer wrap, and this is an English-based material. We're going to use some fiery brown, but there's lots of other colors available. Here's a nice root beer color. This would be great alternative if you watch my collaborator pattern on the channel already. This would be a good substitute for that. There's a nice olive. There's lots of great colors in this. It's a neat material to work with, but it also works well for these Perdigon nymphs. I've taken a couple of strands, moistened them to keep them together. Going to offer them up along the side of the hook, get a couple of wraps onto them to secure them in place. And then we're actually going to start, I'm just going to start wrapping right here and go down to the base of the tail. Over wrapping with material, number of benefits. First of all, if you miss anything on the way down, you can cover up those spaces on the way back up. And when you overwrap a material with itself, it becomes way more durable because it's got to unravel itself to come undone. Although we're going to give this fly a good coating of material. And then there's our body done, nice and slender. Just like a natural nymph. Tie that off. So before I wind the rib, I'm going to transfer thread. Just to give this fly a bit of a hot spot. That's optional. I like hot spots in my flies. You want to stand out in the crowd. You know, fish don't always take our flies because they're hungry. Sometimes it's out of curiosity, aggression, territoriality, an attractor or reaction bite, if you will. Whatever the reason, as long as it samples a fly in our mouth, it's all good with us. So we're going to trim off that tying thread, and then we're going to change it up for a hot color. So now I'm going to attach some hot orange MFC 80. Trim off the excess. Put that right behind the bead. Come forward with our ribbing. And just try for even spacing. Right up to the rear of the bead. Tie this off. 2 over top, 2 in front. Twist and break away our excess. Now I'm going to use my whip finisher just to build up that focused hot orange hot spot. Disengage. So to finish this fly, it's a 2-step process. First of all, I am going to just put a thin body coating on this, which is the Loon Clear Fly Finish in Flow formula. Nice and thin. Come in and activate and cure. And then once that's kicked, we're going to give this fly a black wing case. And you can do that with a marker or get some black nail polish. And we're just going to use the brush and put a little dab right on top, just like that. Just a little dab. Let that cure for a bit. And there is your finished Pliva Perdigon, or buzzer wrap Pliva Perdigon. Great on a Euro nymphing setup, but also a deadly little fly to use on your standard indicator nymphing if you want. For more information on fly fishing, and stillwater fly fishing in particular, please visit my website at flycraftangling.com. Here you will find fishing tips, fly patterns, articles, information regarding my seminars and schools, along with links to my blog and mine and Brian Chan's online stillwater fly fishing store. You can also visit our store directly at stillwaterflyfishingstore.com. While you're visiting my site, please join my mailing list to receive my educational newsletters. You can also follow me through my social media channels. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you haven't already, and give this video a like. Please take the time to watch my other videos as well. Thanks for watching.